Yes, everybody, it is World Cup semi-final time, and this video is sponsored by our partners at Parimatch. Listen, what a series of quarterfinals it was. Unbelievable, breathtaking, quality, drama. It had every single thing you could hope to have had in the quarterfinals in absolute spades. It was brilliant. It was sensational. It was memorable. It was iconic. It was everything, wasn't it? I'm not going to do a preview for both games. I'm just going to do a preview for the one that I think is going to be the most tactically interesting one. Potentially. I could be wrong. There was upsets in the quarters. I could be wrong in how this one goes. But this is how I'm going to see this one going down. I think this is the most tactically interesting one. Look, ultimately, the preview of Croatia-Argentina is Croatia are going to try and play on the counter, and they're going to try and sit back, and they're going to make it very, very boring. Now, there's a good chance Morocco are going to do a similar thing, but they've got some more exciting players, and they've got players that can actually get into places and attack and really get in the mixer. So, right, okay, situational preview, what's going on? Which the France and Morocco one that we're talking about. France qualified for the semi-finals for the 7th time in their history by beating England 2-1 Saturday night. Tchouaméni, long-range strike, and Olivier Giroud header sealed the win for them. Harry Kane did initially equalise before missing the second penalty of the night shortly after Giroud scored what turned out to be France's winning goal. Morocco not only qualified for their first World Cup semi-final, but in doing so became the first African side to achieve that feat in history. And they were able to do so by beating Portugal 1-0 on the weekend with En-Nesyri scoring the only goal of the game. France have won 8 of their last 9 matches in the FIFA World Cup, and they have scored at least 2 goals in 5 of their last 6 matches in the World Cup. Morocco are undefeated in 6 games, and with the best defensive record at this year's tournament, it's understandable why Morocco have made it this far and why they have a fighting chance to make the final. There's a combination of key injuries as well, which I think is going to make it difficult for them, as well as France's undeniable quality and experience. France will still be the favourites. But before I get into the pure tactical thing, I've got a lot of Muslim friends and living at the moment in this part of the world where at the World Cup, I think it's brilliant for this part of the world, for African football, and I know they're not designated as a Muslim team or a Christian team or anything like that, but the Muslim world has really taken to Morocco for the things that they represent. And I've been reading some really cool articles on it, and I think what they stand for and what they are representing has really rallied a lot of Muslims behind them. And to be honest, I want to join them. I want to see Morocco progress in this one because different reasons, I guess, but I love chaos, and I would love to see what the impact on this region in football would be if we were to have a North African, predominantly Muslim nation, actually achieve something like this. I think that would be fantastic. Football is far too centric in Europe, and I think the football belongs to the world, and that is what a World Cup is all about. So for me, I would be delighted if Morocco were to properly put a cat amongst the pigeons. And not only that, they've embarrassed the FAs of some of the larger nations in the world in doing so as well. Okay, that aside, how are they going to line up? France probably going to play a 4-2-3-1. It's what Deschamps really loves. It is his go-to system. They like to use a bit of a possession-based style, but they do so without trying to hold possession too far, too high up the pitch. They're happy to be quite reactive to what an opposition does, and as we saw against England, there'll be times when they have the ball, they push right over the halfway line, and they're patient in their build-up, and they'll have times when they're happy to sit back and then try and attack you on the counter. I think we all know how this one's going to go against Morocco. I think it's going to be a lot more of the former rather than the latter. Players like Tchouaméni have become vital into the team because they've got a brilliant ability to break pressure in between lines. France often come up against teams that are going to sit back against them because of their undeniable quality. And at times, France do a thing which is just very clever. And they just start backing off and retreating and coming a little bit further back. And when they do that, it allows teams to start moving up the pitch as well. And they do that to allow and create space in behind the opposition defence. I think it's very clever the way they do it. One of the first things that we've already seen in this competition, the movement of someone like Antoine Griezmann, who for me right now, if I was picking a player of the tournament, I'm only giving it to one person, it's Antoine Griezmann. Beyond starting positionally as a number 10, what he does, he is the player in the team with the most freedom around the field under Deschamps. You'll see him in the left channel, you see him in the right channel. He's occupying half space constantly. He's in the centre. He's getting beyond. He's dropping deep to receive the ball. He's doing it all. And he's doing it all in possession, but he's doing a brilliant job out of possession as well. He starts moving around. He gets near Giroud. He supports the base and makes it a genuine three-man midfield alongside Rabiot and Tchouaméni. He's helping to assist with ball progression. He's helping to assist assists. He is literally he is doing it all. He is the key. Mbappe's getting the headlines. Giroud's getting the goals, but Griezmann is the one pulling the strings. Obviously, unsurprisingly, their main threats come from those out wide. You've got Mbappe, Dembele have just got blistering amount of pace, and a big focal point, with a good head on him in the centre in Giroud. 11, I think they're going to go virtually unchanged, or are actually unchanged, and I would expect it to be Lloris, Koundé, Varane, Upamecano, Hernandez, Rabiot, Tchouaméni, Griezmann, Dembele, Mbappe, and Giroud. Morocco line up with bodies in midfield, and it's a 4-1-4-1, or it's a 4-5-1. You might call it a 4-3-3, but it's very much, I would call it a 4-1-4-1. They like to go extremely narrow and extremely compact and extremely disciplined, and you're talking straight out of Sachi's playbook for a 25-metre distance from the back to the front. Get through that if you can. Amrabat has been probably their standout player in a defensive capacity. The excitement really is coming through Ziyech, Boufal, El Nesri, and even Hakimi has been getting involved and getting forward a little bit as well for them as well. The two attacking fullbacks, obviously Hakimi, but Mazraoui as well. They don't lack pedigree. They've got quality in them. And they provide the width when they do venture forward. And when they do venture forward, I don't know if it's because they sit so compact, so patiently, so disciplined. When they've gone forward, I found it very exciting when they've gone forward, because they seem to allow quite a few more bodies forward than a team that's supposedly playing a low block should. Either that, or they're just choosing their moments. Occasionally they'll go one up and they'll just see if someone can make a bit of magic while everyone else sort of like slowly makes their way up the pitch, ready for a counter. Or they'll burst forward and the time is right. They might go down the right-hand side, but you'll see players flooding down the left-hand side as well. And that's how they've overwhelmed teams, and that's how they've managed to get some wins. The problem, though, and we're going to get to that, is the team news. And we don't fully know how many players are going to be out, so we're going to try and go with what we think is a predicted 11. But here's the team news as it stands for Morocco. There's all sorts going on with them here. So Aguerd is meant to miss because the injury that he sustained in the round of 16, he played no part in the Portugal game. Chadira is suspended after he received a double yellow card sending off late on in the Portugal game. Saiss had to come off early in the second half of that win with a hamstring problem that he was carrying previously from the Spain game. That could be touch and go, err on the side that he's probably going to miss. Mazraoui is a doubt because he's got a hip flexor injury, which kept him out of the game at the weekend. Sabiri is also a doubt because he's got a knock. Ziyech came off against Portugal with a knock, but they think that's going to be a precautionary measure, and we're thinking he might still start. If all of those players are injured, France walk this. Here's the 11 I think that they might be able to go with. If they can get this 11 out, I think they stand half a chance, and that is Banu, Hakimi, Yamik, Dari, Adjiat Allah, Onai, Amrabat, Amala, Ziyech, El Nesri, and Boufal. If they can get that 11 out, they have a chance. The issue is, do they get that 11 out? That's the issue. Starman. Right now the starman for Morocco has been... I like watching Hakimi. I think he's the best right back in the world. Ziyech looks reborn. Looks like a completely different player than the one that I saw in the Premier League. But it's Amrabat. I think he has been the heart and the soul of this Moroccan side. What he does is great. He sits in front of the back four, and he doesn't just screen that area. They press with like a 4, and he sort of just sits in behind and fills in gaps. And it's really tactically interesting the way he does it, because he'll push up into an area where you expect a number 8 to be, because they've allowed people to press. They're not pressing in that half. They're not pressing in the opposition box. They're not trying to win it off centre-halves in there. They're trying to win it off 6s and 8s and occasionally centre-halves once they're in the Morocco half. And they sit, they wait, and then it's almost like a line of 4 which will try to press and try to win the ball back there. Then that line of 4 is able to go and attack in behind, where they've probably only gone up against 2, maybe 3 players, and that's why they're overwhelming their opposition. But it's Amrabat's positioning just behind that sort of shield of 4. He's picking up stuff in there. He is combative, aggressive. He's winning interceptions. He's winning tackles. He's winning headers. He's covering every single blade of grass. He's there as a deep line playmaker. So when you actually get him on the ball, he is progressive in possession, but he's doing the bits. And he has been the key player for Morocco. For me, if they lost him, France are going to moonwalk this. It still heavily favours France. I think Morocco are still very much the underdog. They went through a tough game, and France didn't really get out of second gear against England. He's key to them. If he has a good game, Morocco can have a good game. And if Morocco have a good game, they could cause an upset here. And I actually think if they manage to get past France, they're winning it. I don't care who makes it in the other side. They will win it if they beat France. The match winner for France is Mbappe. Now, he's up against it, right? He is up against it because he'll be up against Hakimi, who is, I've called him the best right back in the world, right? So fully prepared for him to get absolutely twisted up now against Mbappe. But he was subdued against England, and it's rare that he has 2 quiet games in a row, certainly in a France shirt. 5 goals, so he is the current World Cup top scorer despite having a quiet game against England. The pace is ridiculous, the skill is ridiculous, the finishing is ridiculous, the confidence is ridiculous. He is complete as a forward, and he is capable of changing a game. If he decides to just go past someone, smoke him, then he's going to do it because nobody can stop him. He's that good. France might need his brilliance against Morocco because, as we've seen, teams that are playing on the counter, teams that are going to sit in a low block, they're doing all right. They're not exactly getting smashed when they do this, are they? You know, there's a reason Croatia are on the other side of the bracket this far. It has been a monumental effort for Morocco so far to get to this stage, and having to lift themselves once again after beating Spain in the last 16 to get the better of Portugal in the quarterfinals, to then go on and take France. They couldn't have done it a harder way. And whether it's Croatia or Argentina that awaits them in the final should they get there, if they win it, they couldn't have done it harder. They've smashed it. It looks like it could be one match too far for them, especially with all the injuries, and what was a thin squad has just been getting increasingly stretched. France have shown that they don't need to be at their best to dispatch pretty good teams in England. So it's a heavily favouring France, this, but can we see another miracle for Morocco? I would absolutely love it. Full Kevin Keegan mode. Love it if they beat them. Let me know your score predictions in the comments, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, 5-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.